What we do here is go back.
Ann Arbor is a college town and home to the biggest college football stadium in the United States. It is multicultural, one of the top educational districts in the area. This area has produced success stories such as Drake Johnson, Ashton Hunley, and Chloe Foster. Even coaches Brian Westfield. Look at what Ann Arbor has produced. It is not every day the environment can cultivate a three-sport athlete. Demetrius Sims grew up in Ypsilanti, Michigan. This is where the work started.
When I reflect on Demetrius' journey through baseball, it's been a rewarding, great experience. It's been a lot of cold days. We've been outside, living in Michigan, being outside, working on grounders, hitting in the hitting cages throughout the years. You know, we've done a lot to allow him to help invest in himself and to, you know, reach those goals and dreams that he's had since a little boy, playing Little League baseball, into travel baseball, then high school, college, and now pro. It's something that we have desired for him, that he has put the work in for himself, and his journey has just been, you know, phenomenal.
When did you start playing this sport?
I first picked up a bat when I was 3 years old. My parents actually bought me a Fisher-Price TM bat, and I would swing, hit the ball in to the TV area almost. And I actually have a picture right here. I don't know if I can see that, but I'm in a diaper and hitting off a tee. I don't know why my parents allowed me to do that, but that was the start. And then I went on to play organized baseball when I was 6 years old. I played for Ypsilanti Township at the time, and my mom was actually my first coach, and so we would practice in our backyard, play catch. And I have a funny story. So one day we were playing catch, just getting ready for the season and stuff, and I actually threw the ball too hard, and it went past my mom's glove and hit her in the eye, gave her a black eye. She had to wear a patch over her eye for I think a couple weeks. But she'll tell you still to this day, she'll bring it up, laugh about it, and that was pretty much the start.
All right, so he would never swing, never. He would sit in the batter's box and never swing and just get walked. So I finally asked him, why aren't you swinging at the ball? And he said, well, I'm afraid of it. I'm afraid it might hit me. And I said, so are you worried about the ball hurting you? And he said, yeah, I am, Dad. So what I did was took a bucket of balls, went up to a park that's close to our house, and I took a bucket of balls and I said, okay, I want you to stand in this box and I'm going to throw these balls at you. And I'm not going to throw them to hurt you, but I'm going to throw them so that you know that you're bigger than the ball and it's not going to hurt you. You're tougher than this ball. So I started throwing balls at him. He began crying, and I wasn't throwing him hard. And he said, I'm going to tell mom about this. I'm going home and tell mom. So we laughed about it. But from that day forward, we went back to the next game, smashing balls. He was hitting them right field, left field. Never afraid to swing again. So I take a lot of credit in the fact that I taught him not to be afraid of a fastball. So youth basketball, Demetrius participated in a program called Ypsilanti Rec Basketball, 3rd through 6th grade. 3rd and 4th grade team, phenomenal, went 6-0 in that league, and just, winning, all the games weren't even close. 5th grade ended up losing to one game to a team called the Bobcats. They had a young special player on that team named Kamari Davis, was phenomenal. We had a challenge with him. They did beat us. So 6th grade, because we were so successful in that league, team started bringing in AAU programs to play against us and compete. We did have some very talented young men on that team: Landon Miller, Roberson, Caleb Haney, Dominique Haynes, Tyler Stevenson. There were some really good players. We had a press called the Ultimate 100. It was like a press trap that Coach Darnell Miller put in. And when that press came down and Demetrius and Landon were at the top of that, no one brought the ball up past half court. It was always a trap and a layup the other way. So that was special, man. Really, really special to watch those kids develop that talent and see that skill set. Moving into the junior football, he participated with the Washtenaw Junior Wolverines from freshman to varsity, and that was a 6-year span. During those 6 years, his team made it to the playoffs every year. He won a couple of championships out of that cluster of time. Very special player, made special plays in that arena, whether it be interceptions, touchdown receptions, touchdown runs, passes, special team, kick returns. He did it all. We saw, him develop into a special football player. Kind of were thinking that might be the way he was going to go moving into high school and beyond and college going forward. However, his love continued to drift toward baseball, but it was really special to see, the progression through the Ypsi Rec, Washtenaw Junior Football Scarlet, middle school days. It's a blessing to see that and a blessing to see him develop in those spaces.
Swings, lines up in the middle.
Ball to shortstop. Good 1-2. There's one. The relay. Got it. That's with the food equipment throughout this weekend.
Ground ball left side in the hole. Short.
Line drive back up the middle again. Sims
And got it.
Make sure he got it. He knew he had time. That's a good feed. A real good time.
One really unique thing about him is when he played in high school, he was a football, baseball, and basketball varsity player, and he received offers in all 3 sports. But the funny thing is, he never put a lot of time into football or basketball, but the way he played, the competitive nature of his soul, allowed those coaches to say, hey, he's somebody we would love to have at the college level as well.
My name is David Brooks. I'm the head varsity baseball coach at Ann Arbor Huron. This is my 5th year as a head coach. I've been a part of the program since 2009, 2010. I was an assistant head coach under Terry Begum from 2009, 2010 to 2017. Demetrius Sims played for us from 2010 to 2013 as our shortstop in the program. His freshman year, he came in, he was the JV starting shortstop, and then he moved up to varsity as a sophomore and was our varsity shortstop for the next 3 years. Michi was a different breed. You know, he was a type of player that he didn't take no for an answer. He worked extra hard. His work ethic was through the roof. You know, he played all 3 sports in high school. He played football, basketball, baseball. Baseball was his #1 sport. You know, even when he was playing other sports, he still came over and did, you know, his baseball workout no matter what. You know, the kid, he was a different animal. You know, Demetrius, his work ethic was just, it was something different. We knew from the time he came in our program that he was going to be a Division I baseball player and end up in Major League Baseball.
What is something that most people don't know about baseball that's common knowledge?
It's very difficult. It's probably the hardest sport. I haven't played all the other sports that people say that it's hard, but I would say baseball is definitely one of the hardest sports. There's just so many things that have to line up for you to get a positive out of. For example, you have to swing at the right pitches as a hitter. You have to know when to swing at them, how to swing at the pitch, and you also have to make contact with it. So the pitcher can have 4 different types of pitches, and they all can move 4 different types of ways. So you have to figure out of those 4 pitches, which one you think you can handle and hit the best. And then you also have to try to hit it hard. And then the rest is kind of luck, if you would say. You can determine how hard you hit the ball, but you can't determine if you get a hit, if that makes sense. And also, from the blind eye, a lot of people don't know that there's stuff that we watch or have to look at before and during the game. So, for example, like defense, if there's a certain batter up, we have to move to that person's liking. So we have to move to, if that person is like a pull hitter, we have to move and adjust for each batter. So there's a lot of movement, a lot of technical, analytical things. And also, when you're up to bat, you have to watch. You have to look at the coach's signs. You have to make sure you got the right sign to see if you put on a play. And then you have to perfect the play. And if you don't get the play down, then it just puts you in like a negative situation almost that you have to dig out of. Just for missing one time, even though you have three chances, you missing that one opportunity can, put your percentages down tremendously. And those are just a few examples that make it hard. Just a lot of things that have to go right, a lot of things that you have to make sure that are on point.
Athletics are big in Ann Arbor. We have 3 comprehensive high schools, very competitive and across all sports. So for Demetrius to rise to the top in 3 sports in a town like this speaks to how good an athlete he was and the impact that he had here at Huron, specifically on our athletic department. Obviously as a baseball player, he was an all-stater, a guy that was he was money. On the plate, he was money in the field. He was a guy that people would come watch play. As a football player, he was a two-way player. He played offense, defense, receiver, safety, corner, whatever the team needed, special teams. He was an impact player on the football team. And then for us in basketball, he was just an all-purpose player. He could defend, he could rebound, he could score, he made the right passes. He flew around the court, made plays that guys, couldn't make, but because of the effort that he brought, he just made the team so good. And so I think just being an athlete in Ann Arbor for him, he really rises to, one of the best that's ever come through Ann Arbor, and I'm just glad to be a part of his journey here in Ann Arbor. Demetrius Sims is one of my favorite players of all time. He is such a competitor. He is such a great teammate. He worked as hard as anyone we've ever had. And the fact that he was a three-sport athlete and could only dedicate a certain amount of time to basketball just really speaks to what a great athlete he is. Basketball was his third sport, and we knew that, and we embraced that, and we accepted him for who he is and what he could bring to the team. But when he was there, man, he was all in, and he made such a huge impact on the program and on his teammates. He was a lot of fun to coach because he could just make plays that were unscripted. He would make plays that other guys just physically couldn't make because he was just a superior athlete.
He's on this team too. I'm trying to find out where he is. There he is, right there.
One thing about Demetrius, I'll say that really stood out, to me when he was in high school was he made a play. We were at Bedford, and this was when it really stood out that he was going to be a special one. There was a ball hit to him in the hole, that the ball was hit behind him. He dove back, made the play, threw the ball to first base from his butt, made the ball all the way to first base. The kid ended up being safe, but for a kid to be a junior in high school to make a play like that, that's an unreal play to be seen. So that right there turned everybody's heads, especially us, at Huron.
An interesting story that goes along with this whole journey. Demetrius' older brother, Dion, was also a multi-sport athlete. Came out of Orchard Lake St. Mary's, where he was a candidate for Mr. Basketball, also a Division I football prospect. Got a lot of offers from a lot of the Power 5 schools. Competitiveness between Demetrius and Dion growing up was phenomenal, and with them both having a desire to play sports at a highest level, really helped them push one another. Dion then goes on to Michigan State, then gets drafted to the Miami Dolphins, and then becomes a free agent pickup to the Chicago Bears. As a role model to Demetrius, that's something that he was able to watch him and see the struggles and see the work he had to put in, and he emulated it all for himself. One thing that he always said was, okay, if my brother is doing well in these two sports, I want to really focus on baseball and be the best Sims in baseball. So friendly competition amongst brothers was great for them growing up. And now into this day, when they both were drafted to Miami professional teams, Demetrius with the Miami Marlins and Dion with the Miami Dolphins, was like a dream come true for our family to have both of our boys in the Miami area.
What person did you look up to that inspired you to be the athlete you are today?
I would say my big brother, Dion. He was a phenomenal athlete growing up. I always was able to compete against him in the living room, in the backyard, just wherever there was a hoop, wherever there was a ball, me and him were always going at it. And he was always bigger than me, so it made me tough. It made me ready. And it also allowed me to watch his greatness. He's always been good. He was always good growing up. He played 3 sports, and he also ran track. And so I would say Dion, for sure. Even going up through the high school ranks, he was one of the top football and basketball players in the state, and then onto the national stage as well. And he was really well known, big time name, big time guy. So I would say just watching him go through that process and seeing him be the great person he was and great athlete he was really inspired me. It's like, okay, like if my big brother can do this, then I can do this too. I just have to follow, what he did and just picking his brain and just seeing how his work ethic was growing up really inspired me to be what I am today. Even though it was in a different sport, he really, I would say, beyond for sure. And then now, baseball growing up, just baseball specific, I would say Derek Jeter. The tie-in with him being from Kalamazoo, Michigan, him playing shortstop, him being the same size, frame, athleticism, so almost pretty much the same intangibles. I adopted that and ran with it. I would watch video of Derek Jeter and also of Jose Reyes, and I would just watch them field and just try to duplicate every single movement, every single thing they did with their feet, their hands, and I adopted that and I worked on that every single day. So I would say my brother and then Jose Reyes and Derek Jeter were the people I looked up to and eventually modeled my game after. So. What is it like playing in the minors? Oh, it's a lot of different things, to say the least, but it's a grind. I would say it's a grind, but I love it, absolutely love it. I wouldn't be wanting to do anything else right now. There's a lot of different factors that go into being a minor leaguer. One, you have to be mentally down-packed. When you first get drafted, you go through the process of going to smaller towns that you've never heard before in the middle of Iowa or New York, upstate New York, or let's say just Kansas, wherever. They're all small towns, small cities that a lot of people aren't, acclimated to, aren't used to. And so you have to give yourself time to get used to a different living environment. And you also have to perform. Like, it's your first time playing professional and it's totally different than college ball. So having to adapt in a new city and a new style of play is a big jump for sure. And if you ask anyone else who's been in that situation, they'll tell you it's definitely an adjustment that you have to make quickly, or it can catch up to you, or it'll leave you behind. So I would say that was my experience when I first got drafted. But as you go up the ranks, it gets better. The fans get better, the stadiums get better, the weather gets better. And so I think I'm at a point right now where I kind of passed the grind of like the living situation area. And so now I've been fortunate enough to be based in Florida in 2019, and in 2020 we had the pandemic, so we didn't have a season. But just being grateful to play in Florida, be in the sun. I love Florida. This is where I live now. So I'll say it's been great. It's been a blessing.
Did you have any people that didn't believe in you?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually had coaches who didn't believe in me, which is usually not the case. It's usually players, or there could be a little bit of self-doubt that creeps up growing up and not really understanding a sport, but you still love it. But I would say it was more so coaches and grown-ups. There's a lot of favoritism growing up. Even though I was better than most of the kids growing up, there just was, a more like father-dad type thing. So I had to deal with the bias of that. And I actually was trying out for a team. I think I was like 12. I want to say I was 12 and tried out. We had to play game. I think it was a game, and then we had to do like infield drills and like pitching and all like the whole 9 yards. And I did a really good job at the tryout, and I thought, there's no way that I don't make this team. I showed these guys, I showed the team, the coaches that I really belong there, and sure enough, I didn't make the team for whatever reason. And later down the road, my father told me that one of the coaches had a nephew that was trying out for the team, and he chose the nephew over me. And so I just thought that was something that, I understand that, the family dynamic, but if someone's better than you, then that should play for itself. So I would say that was one of the first times that I had to experience any doubtful or bias towards me. But I'm sure even up till now, like there's people who I don't even know that doubt me, even close to me. I may not know that doubt me, but those are, that's just a part of the process, and that's a motivation factor for me. So the more doubters I have, the better I'm doing.
And when he was a senior, we do a voting every year for all district, all region, all state team, and his offensive numbers weren't very high his senior year, but his fielding percentage was like a 98%. And when we were at the meeting, the head of the association asked us if there are any players we want to move on for them to vote on to the all-state team. Well, Terry and I talked, and he didn't really want to throw Michi up because his offensive numbers weren't as high. Well, the Dexter head coach, I believe his name was Don Little at the time, he raised his hand and he was like, there's one kid on that list that I would put up. Offensively, it doesn't show it, but defensively, he's going to be a major league shortstop. He has a major league arm, and he's a special guy. And sure enough, he said, he wanted Demetrius to get voted on, and sure enough, Michi made the All-State team, went down and played at Comerica Park for the All-State game, and it's just as something special. Not a lot of kids get to go through that, and I think that was the beginning of his journey. Because from there on, he's just gotten better and better every year.
One play that sticks out in my mind was in a district championship game. Was one of the plays that as a coach you can tell the story, but I've got film to show it. Unbelievable play. On one end of the court, Demetrius gets an offensive rebound, puts the ball back in, and the team that we were playing was pushing the ball pretty fast up the court. And at the time, we were really getting after people in our press. Demetrius went and got a deflection on the ball. It was saved. One of their players saved it, tried to keep it in bounds. And as another player came to make the play on the ball, Demetrius was diving out of bounds to save the ball, and literally was parallel to the ground. And he was parallel to the ground, and he was literally like levitating. He saved the ball, made the play, landed out of bounds. The play was ruled out of bounds by the official, but the official on my side of the court looked at me and said, "Are you kidding me? Did he just do that?" And I said, "Yeah, that's Demetrius Sims. It's all effort, all gas, no brakes. He's just that kind of kid," and I think that just speaks to his character more than anything